Hello, friends. Welcome to the show, known commonly as the JHP show. Of course, as you know, JHP stands for Just Hit Play. We're going to present some topics of grave importance to you. We hope that you will stay and listen till the end about these important topics. This important topic, this episode, and the other episodes later on. Just binge watch us. I don't give What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about hiring bands and musicians for events.
Well, hiring artists.
In general, yes.
In general.
Yeah. You know what I really hate? When people say, oh, we'll pay you with, exposure.
Yeah. Oh, who's that? It's the telephone company. They want me to pay the bill. Where's your exposure account? Where can I send the exposure that I just got to you to pay for my bill? I can't. So your exposure does nothing.
You go to the grocery store, you want to
Yeah.
buy a bunch of food.
That'll be 20 exposures, please. Doesn't work that way.
It's so humiliating when you say, oh, we'll give you exposure. I don't need your exposure. You're not the MTV Video Music Awards. You're not the Grammys. I don't need your exposure.
What if you are?
What do you mean?
What if MTV Music Awards comes to you and they're like, hey, will you do a gig for free?
Absolutely.
It's for the exposure.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, there are certain events that actually do give you exposure. It's real exposure.
So
It's
what is the bottom line?
the bottom line.
Yeah, like how much exposure do you expect to do something for free?
Like, I expect to be exposed to an audience that I feel would be potential fans who I would turn eventually into buying customers.
Would 10 of them be enough?
No,
How many?
absolutely not. Hundreds, minimum. And by hundreds, I mean 500 and above. That is exposure I will accept. But less than that, I'm not interested. It's not going to do anything for me because even out of those 500, if you get 10% of them, then you actually do well. Like we recently opened for the Backstreet Boys,
That's true.
and I got like hundreds of followers just from that one show. And
Me too.
we weren't paid a lot, but we did it for the exposure and it worked for us. And I was, singing to an audience of pop music fans who I knew would relate to the kind of music that I'm making. So that was good exposure. But if I'm gonna go perform at some, private event for, some company for their employees, and they only have like 100 employees, that is not exposure. I'm sorry. So please respect us. Please respect the years of struggle and the years of experience and practicing and learning and trying to, better yourself, not only as a human being, but also as as a musician, as a professional. There's so much that goes into being an independent musician. And, it's just so disrespectful when people say, oh, we'll pay you with exposure. No, I don't want your exposure.
I don't think a lot of people still do that, just try to pay with just exposure. Exposure is kind of the cushioning underneath the small amount that you will get.
No, but I have a friend, Big Haas.
Yes.
He tweeted the other day and he said, brands, please understand, artists can't pay with exposure. They can't pay their bills with exposure. He tweeted about it just like 3 days ago.
Really?
Yes, so brands are still doing this and he deals with a lot of, high-end brands. And they still expect people to, perform for free or offer their services for free to get exposure.
Well, what kind of high-end brands are we talking about?
I don't know, but the fact that he's still tweeting about it means it's still an issue and that people are still doing it and think they can get away with it.
Do these brands have a followership higher than 500 people?
Probably, but
Where does one draw the line?
I'll tell you where one draws the line. The thing is, like when you are hired for an event, people want to hear covers as somebody who's not super well known. So when they hear the covers, they're not really being exposed to your kind of music, to your art that you've created. You're just repeating somebody else's music, you're repeating somebody else's songs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I personally don't expect to have a huge following from performing covers.
No?
No, I don't see it because they're not there to, even if they do become fans and even if they do like me for performing the covers, I feel like they still haven't built up enough interest to check out my original work. So they will be like, oh, that guy who sang, I don't know, Careless Whisper so well. But I'll never be, oh, Omar Afuni, the guy who, he does Rush and Perfect and Dangerous. Or Resurrect Me. Oh, it's the Resurrect Me guy. That's very rare. Like I have a couple thousand people who actually know about me in that way, but hey.
The kind of exposure argument is better framed in the context of a restaurant.
Yes.
So a bunch of my friends and I are getting together on the weekend, and we'd really like you to cater our evening, bring your restaurant, bring us food, and obviously you'll get exposure. You'll get so much exposure. We will see you, we will eat your food, and you're exposed to us. It doesn't work that way. The food costs money, the way to cook it costs money, getting there, coming back. And the same things can be said about musical instruments. The same thing can be said about time and effort put into educating yourself to be up to a reasonable standard where it's okay to perform in front of people. Exposure doesn't cut it.
It really doesn't. And you know what kind of hurts even more is that there are some people who have just started out their musical journeys. They haven't really mastered their craft yet. They don't know what they're doing 100%, and then they go out there and they're like, oh, we'll perform for free, and that's fine. If you want to perform for free, but just doing that, you need to know that you are harming people who rely on getting paid actual money.
Well, there should be some kind of separation between these two leagues.
True, but most people don't understand the difference.
If you just picked up the guitar, you learned 3 chords and you can play whatever, and you can sing a little bit, are you in the right to demand some kind of proper amount for what you have, as opposed to someone who has been doing this for however many years?
Yeah.
So there should be a separation of leagues. One is the college basketball, the other one is the NBA league. Then that raises the concern of who is the gatekeeper between the leagues.
Yeah.
Who says what is in this category or the other?
And that's the thing. I don't feel like there is a gatekeeper.
Well, there are in some senses, but I think all of this is on a much bigger level, or even in a more developed country than where we are, where music is a bit more commonplace, and there's more avenues to pursue it, to perform.
Yeah.
So in the UK, you can't go to a pub and be like, I demand $1,000 for my rendition of Wonderwall. How long have you been playing? 3 months.
Yeah.
No. But if you're Taylor Swift and you say, I want to sing Wonderwall for y'all.
For $1 million.
For a couple of beers, Taylor. That's all you're worth.
Wow.
You're not going to fight back?
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. I'm not going to fight an opinion.
I have no opinion. I'm just poking a reaction from you. Which you did not deliver.
I'm learning from the best.
Disappointing.
But yeah, the other thing is that, when you do hire a band, there are certain things that you can and cannot do. First of all, communication is super important. You need to be very clear on what you want the band to do, and the band need to be very clear about what they are willing and not willing to do for you. No, but it's true. And I really like what you said earlier when we were, before we started filming, about, when you go to a band and you hire them, you're familiar with what they do and you expect them to do the same at your event when you do hire them. But demanding for a band to perform, I don't know, 1 million songs that are not in their own, set list, or, they haven't rehearsed,
I think it's better to look at this from a general kind of artist perspective. If you approach an artist to do something for you, then you are putting in some trust into them, into their style, and you chose them on the basis that you like them. So what are you smiling about? There's nothing to smile about. But to stand over their shoulder and kind of, supervise and dictate every step of the thing that they do it's a little bit insulting. Like if if I have somebody over me telling me, no, do this or do that, whatever, I suppose that you would hire me because you have some level of trust, or you in some way or another enjoy what I can do and how I express myself.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to try to use me as your sock puppet for your expression it's uncomfortable.
Absolutely. I think it's disrespectful, honestly.
It depends what kind of agreement you have. But like in all things in life, communication is key.
Absolutely.
And having things written down, I think, is even more important.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any disagreement or anything, then it can be referenced that this is what we agreed to, etc., and these are our grievances. So there you have it.
Do the outro.
That was our show for this evening or morning, whenever you're watching this.
A little bit more enthusiastic.
It's been a thoughtful program, so I'd like to end it thoughtfully.
Okay.
If you like the show, like it. If you didn't like it, don't hit dislike. Just go away. And subscribe if you really like it. And hit that little bell thing that they have, so you are notified the next time we speak. And you'll see us next time.